Dealings with the Dead by a Sexton of the Old School, Volume 1, Number 1. Throw aside whatever I send you, if you do not like it, as we throw aside the old bones when making a new grave, and preserve only what you think of any value, with a slight difference. You will publish it, and we shouldn't. I was so fond of using the thing which I have now in my hand, when a boy, that my father thought I should never succeed with the mattock and spade. He often shook his head, and said I should never make a sexton. He was mistaken. He was a shrewd old man, and I got many a valuable hint from him. "Abner," said he to me one day when he saw me bowing very obsequiously to a very old lady, "don't do so, Abner. Old folks are never pleased with such attentions from people of your profession. They consider all personal approaches from one of your fraternity as wholly premature. It brings up unpleasant anticipations." Father was right, and when I meet a very old or feeble or nervous gentleman or lady, I always walk fast and look the other way. Sextons have greatly improved within the last half-century. In old times, they kept up too close an intimacy with young surgeons, and, to keep up their spirits in cold vaults, they formed too close an alliance with certain evil spirits, such as gin, rum, and brandy. We have greatly improved as a class, and are destined, I trust, to still greater elevation. Some people will say that alcoholic beverages are not wrong, as long as they are not strong enough. And it's like, it doesn't work that way. You can't dilute something away from being a sin, right? We've greatly improved as a class and are destined, I trust, to still greater elevation. Well, doesn't the Bible also talk about, if you're sick or something, that you can drink? Kind of condemns you for it otherwise, but, A few of us are thinking of getting incorporated. I read a great deal. I've carried a book of some sort in my pocket for 50 years. No profession loses so much time in mere waiting as ours. I have read that the barbers and surgeons of London were incorporated as one company in the time of Henry VIII. There is certainly a much closer relation between the surgeons and sextons than between the barbers and surgeons, since we put the finishing hand to their work. And as everybody is getting incorporated nowadays, I see no good reason against our being incorporated as a society of sextons and surgeons, and then our toils and vexations would, in some measure, be solaced by pleasant meetings and convivial suppers, at which the surgeons would cut up roast turkeys, and the sextons might bury their sorrows. When the sextons have no particular digging to do out of doors, it seems well enough for them to dig in the closets. There is a great amount of information to be gained from books, particularly adapted to the profession, some of which is practical, and some of which, though not of that description, is of a much more profitable character than police reports of rapes and murders, are the histories of family quarrels, are interminable rumors of battles and bloodshed. There is a learned blacksmith, who knows but there may spring up a learned sexton some of these days. The dealings with the dead since the world began furnish matter for curious speculation. What has seemed meet and right in one age or nation has appeared absurd and even monstrous in another. It is also interesting to contemplate the many strange dispositions which certain individuals have directed to be made in regard to their poor remains. Men who seem not to have paid much attention to their souls have provided in the most careful and curious manner for the preservation of their miserable carcasses, It may also furnish matter for legitimate inquiry, how far it may be wise and prudent, and in good taste, to carry our love of finery into the place appropriated for all living. Aristocracy among the dead. What a thought! Sumptuary considerations are here involved. The rivalry of the tomb, the pride not of life, but of death. How frequently have I seen, especially among the Irish, the practice of a species of pious fraud upon the banker and the milkman, whose bills were never to be paid, while all the scrapings of the defunct were bestowed upon the beryl. The principle is one and the same. When men in higher walks put costly monuments over the ashes of their dead and their effects into the hands of assignees, and then the pageantry and grandiloquence of the epitaph, in the course of 50 years, what outrageous lies I have seen done in marble. Perhaps I may say something of these matters, perhaps not. And it's hard to tell sometimes from the graves, is somebody a fan of something, or was somebody part of something?